As we were saying, sorry, we are talking about a growing church, but not only a Christian religion, but even other religions are growing fast in our continent. We are talking about a place where new denominations come from within. So we have our own Africans that start new denominations. You may call whatever you want to call sects or whatever. But also, we are having an avalanche of different denominations coming from other countries, be it Brazil and many other places outside the African continent. We are talking about a place where we have vibrant members meeting everywhere. Under the trees, you will find churches meeting there. In schools, you will find churches meeting. In church buildings, and even in homes, you will find churches meeting, having services everywhere. We are talking about a place, this one is connected to the number 2, where anyone can start a church. We have churches in United Methodist Church that have been started by people that were transferred, some civil servants, to certain places. They arrive there and they start a church. They come to the pastor to say, "Pastor, come. We are 100. We don't have people to baptize. We want people to be married. And we want a holy communion." So, when we talk about the church starts, they are in almost everywhere. In such a way that because of some issues that are coming with these new churches coming in and new churches that are being started, our governments, even those that did not have, are now starting to say, hey, we need to have laws that govern this way. And Mozambique is one of them. Shortly, we will be having laws that govern the churches or the religions. We are talking about a continent that has been affected by poverty, a continent where there are wars, has been affected by climate changes, tribalism, illiteracy, and all other things that you know. We are talking, because of what you see, the church needs trained leaders, which we don't have. We are talking about all these churches that are being started. Some of the leaders, they have no kind of any training, but they are leaders and they are leading the church. So we need to find ways of training them. We are in need of teaching materials for Christian education. We are in need of salaries for those pastors that are there in those churches and are working full time. We need church buildings. We need schools and hospitals, and etc. So this is where, in short, we are as a church. We do have some strengths, though there are these constraints. We have motivated and committed members. We have land. In most of our countries, the church has good relationship with the government, which creates a good environment for the church to grow. And some of the solutions to most of these problems is that instead of having a donor-receiver environment, we need to have ways of having the church a self-sustainable church. And some of our churches are beginning to do that. We do have an example of Bishop Johnny Ambassador of Culture initiative is on these lines. We need the leadership training centers and so on and so on. So this are the 8 points I saw that I will just, a summary of where we are as a church. But I know that the hot plate for today is the issue of Bishop's statement. I'm saying this because this time the Bishop's statement is half page. But outside there, they have produced hundreds of pages. From a half page, when you look at it, if you take the how you call it, the beginning, and then you take the names, it's literally a half page. But it has brought into being a hard discussion up there. How did this statement come? It is important, my brothers and sisters, that we understand that the bishops did not meet just to produce this statement. And this is not the first statement. The context in which this statement comes is that as we have been meeting, it reached a certain time when we said, hey, these decisions that we are taking, these understandings that we are coming into, it is important that our people in Africa knows what we as leaders have decided, have talked about. And not only in Africa, but the church at large. So this is not the first. There have been other statements that the College of African Bishops produced as they saw necessary and relevant for that time. So what was this statement saying? I just put exactly as it came. Number one, it says that as church leaders, we are still committed to the doctrines. We are still committed to the Bible and the doctrines that we believe. But it goes into saying that maybe here, I'm not sure. I want to believe that everyone knows when I talk about Africa Initiative what it is. This is the group of Africans that years ago they came and brought a plan, a very good plan of training our delegates to the General Conference to be able to follow the way things are done there, because it's totally different with the way we do things, most of us in Africa, when it comes to our conferences. Most of the things we do, and we reach to the conclusion via consensus. That's not the way it works on the other side. And so they came and offered themselves. We have gone to school. We now know how these things are done. And we have seen that many of our delegates, when they are there, they are lost. And here we are, bishops, we are giving ourselves, one, for training these delegates, two, to bring all the delegates together and pray before we go to the General Conference. And we accepted it. We all rallied behind this group that is calling itself Africa Initiative. And the first meeting, talking about my area, the 10 delegates, I said, it's worth going to that meeting. And this, they did most of the bishops. And we sent more than 90% of our delegates were there in that first meeting. And true to the words of Africa Initiative, they were engaged in prayer. They were engaged in trying to show them how things work, how things are done, and how they should carry themselves there. The second meeting, they went. Some of the delegates came and they had a little bit of question marks about some of the things they saw happening. The third one was even worse because now there were some things written, and is where some of us say, well, if you say you go to train people for general conference, you go for prayers, and there is other agenda that happens there, and we as leaders do not know, then we will not be responsible in sending our people there. So that's where, and there are other things also, because questions like, you are our brothers and sisters, we know you. Where do you find money to pay for all delegates, their food, their accommodation, and some of them transport? We need to know, because we are trusting you with our delegates. So who is behind this? Who is funding all these things? And we didn't have an answer. It was just their friends. We said, well, then if these friends do not show their faces, then we are not sending our delegates. So that's where some of these things started. Because we felt there must be an accountability. We must know where we are sending our delegates. We must, instead of saying we are going to do this, and then we are hearing now that in those meetings, they are starting talking about certain organizations that we know little about. We are starting to hear about people moving out. That's not our language here. And so we cannot send our delegates there. So this is just the context in which this discussion comes. So that's why there is this point that the Africa Initiative has lost the first things that they say they will do. They are doing other things. And so because they have lost this. And the other thing is that as time went, we start seeing that this organization called Wesleyan Covenant is really recruiting some of our African leaders. And others, they even call themselves, we are staff of Wesleyan Covenant. And none of the bishops knows anything about that. So we felt we cannot really continue this. If he comes to my episcopal area, meets people, meets leaders in my episcopal area, without at least saying something, that's an abuse. It's not open. Because if it is a good thing, it should be open to all of us. There is no problem. If you have a different way of looking at things, just be open and say, bishops, this is the way we are looking at things. This is the way we are thinking. This is the way we think we can solve the problems. And so this is where now we saw that the Wesleyan Church is not Wesleyan Church. Wesleyan Covenant Association rule is not doing good to us. And the other thing is that as they talk about this moving out, these leaders that they have recruited in the episcopal area are recruiting people, are telling people about moving out of UNC. And that has never been our language. So we said, this one, they are out to destroy the denomination in Africa. And so, with the basis of that, the bishops declared the following. One is to disassociate with our brothers and sisters of Wespath, of Africa Initiative. And that as we were doing before, when they come, they meet, it wasn't a problem in our episcopal areas. They are no more having yes. We are aware that they may go and meet, but they will know, they should know that there is no more a yes from the bishops. And the members also should know this. And that has to do also with the Wesleyan Covenant Association. In this sharing, there are bishops that shared that there is misinformation from this group. And so we said that will not be acceptable to go to our churches and just give information that is not real, that is not true. But at the end of the day, we said we will continue. We are committed to lead the church in Africa. And thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. I think it was very important to hear from the whole background you gave and the history and where the bishops came from when they came together in Mutare at Africa University to make this statement, but also when you talked about the situation of the church in general, the growth of the church in many ways, not only the United Methodist Church, and the general situation. So we have still some time now, 20 minutes, for some Q&A with the Bishop. So I would encourage you to ask your questions, or if you have a comment to make or a story to tell from your area. I think this will be very helpful for our first session, as we have Bishop Nhanala present. So when you speak, you need to press on the mic so our translator can hear you, and you can speak in French, Portuguese, or in English. So feel free to ask any questions, make any comments at this moment. Go ahead. And it might be nice if you say your name and the country you come from, because this will help us to keep getting to know each other. So before you speak, say your name and the country you come from.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is David Baraza Alunyere. Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you see the light, then you can start again, David.
My name is David Baraza Alunyere, and I'm a conference treasurer of the Kenya Ethiopian Conference, as well as CBO of the Kenya Ethiopian Conference.
Okay.
First, I wish to appreciate the Bishop for the courage to speak about this. And she is aware very well that what she's presenting has raised many issues. And this is very good. My question is whether the Bishop is aware that actually are you not led in the action that you've taken? Because you've already provided a platform for AI. Are you not?
Can you repeat, please? Maybe you can sit closer to the microphone. That's easier to understand. Yeah.
So I'm worried whether the bishops are aware that they are late with the actions they have just taken about the plan for the future of the church. So I'm asking whether they are aware that they are late because they already provided a platform for AI and Wesleyan Covenant to talk about the direction of the church in Africa. 2.
You said they were led bishops?
Yes, I'm just worried whether they are aware that they are late in the actions they have just taken.
They are led.
Led
Yes,
by who?
that you are late in the statement. You
Oh,
are
late. Okay.
Late.
They were late.
Yes.
Thank you. Late.
but it's a worry from my side, where I sit, and also from the conversations we've had with the lay people. Two, it appears like the AI Africa initiative was initiated in good faith. Now, is it being stopped to work with the church in Africa because it is associating with WCA? 3, what is the relationship that the Bishops Association of Bishops, the College of Bishops, has with a new caucus called, not a new caucus, actually the caucus has been in operation, called RNN. Because I have several caucuses. And whether
What is IN?
Okay, please be slow.
Okay.
Because you know, when I speak English, my background of my language comes. So we all do like that. So let's be slow so that we can understand each other. I'm sorry. So what was your second was about the
my second
interference?
question is the College of Bishops stopping the Africa initiative to do what they have been doing because of their association with WCA. That's question number 2.
Yeah, I think now it's clear. Thank you.
Okay.
And your third question, and then I think we have to stop to have others asking questions.
Then the third question is associated with the caucuses that are related with the United Methodist Church. WCA, as I understand, is one of the caucuses of the United Methodist or associated with the United Methodist Church. We also have another one, quite prominent now where I come from, called Reconciling Ministries Network. Are you aware about this and whether there is any way to continue to educate the African church more about these things?
Thank you, David. So that's clear also, the last question. Bishop, you have your own mic now. You want to make more questions first? Okay. Let's have one more. The Bishop is taking notes and will respond. Yes, Reverend God. If you also introduce yourself briefly. You have to press the button so we can hear it. Yes, now.
Okay. I am Reverend Samuel B. Brown from Liberia. You said when the African Initiative started, the first meeting it was good. The second meeting it was a little bit good. When we reached to the third, they started receiving funds. They started getting support in association with others, which you, the bishops, now that you know how they were getting out of the funds. Is it that the funds and other support they were getting, they were not reporting it to the bishop, that is causing you all to stop this initiative, or because you said that the Wesleyan Covenant being a part of it, and why you all decided to just stop it somehow abruptly?
Okay, I think that's clear. Was it the funding or was it again the relationship with the WCA that made you stop this so abruptly? That's to sum up. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. These are very, very, very legitimate questions. They are questions that make sense. The first one, are we not late? No, we are not. Because we have been discussing this. We have been calling our brothers and sisters of Africa Initiative to come to the College of Bishops to see if we can come to the same understanding. But we notice that there is no political will of us coming to understanding. So we think we are not late. We are not running anywhere. We are not running anywhere. The church in Africa is here. This was a result of several meetings that we had with our brothers and sisters because they are very important to us. We were trying to see if they can go back to really train our delegates and then keep praying for this church and other good things that really they were doing. We were trying to see if Africa Initiative will not have other agendas that are not what they told us that they will be doing. So we feel we are not late. This is a result of lack of understanding. And the other question of stopping because of their association. We came to know about this association later. We didn't have problems with the Wesley Covenant. In fact, we have met with them. Some of you may not know this. We have met with them until they started meeting secretly in our episcopal areas. That's where things now began. Until they started recruiting staff to recruit people within our episcopal areas for a new denomination, is where things started. It's where we said no. Then these Wesley brothers, Wesley Association, they are not for good. You need to understand that our disagreement with Wesley Covenant has nothing to do with the way we understand the Bible. We are the same. They are traditionalists, we are traditionalists. However, our way of dealing with these issues of sexual, human sexuality is where we differ. In Africa, as a church, we know how to live with the difference. We know how to live with people that do not think like us. And we don't leave the church. Our understanding is that we are not going to leave United Methodist Church because there are homosexuals. Now, if we leave because there is this problem, we go to this new denomination and we discover that there are other problems. We are going to leave to the third church and from there to the fourth church. That's not the way we do things in the church. We sit down, we talk. Even if it is a hard talk, we do that. We talk hard. We rebuke each other in love. But we are within the church. So the talk of living is not part of us as a College of Bishops. And because now these people are talking about that and they are coming to recruit the people within the church, then we say they are not for the good of the church, but they are here to destroy the church. Because if it is a new denomination, there are so many people that do not know Christ. Why not going there? You come to fish in the basket? Things are not done that way. The sea is there. Go and fish. Why here? So, same way, there are many other caucus, and we don't have nothing to do with them, because they have not come to say, you move from your members here must come to a new denomination. That's not a friendship. That's where we are as bishops. So it has nothing to do with the funding. The funding, what we were saying, is here you are, suddenly you have so much money to feed our delegates, to transport our delegates, to give place to sleep to our delegates. We have a responsibility in relation to these people that are traveling all over. Where is the money coming from? That's important for us. We don't need the money, but at least we need to know who is funding this. Today, there are so many sources, ugly sources that have money. So, I just wanted to say this. I don't look like I have.
Thank you, Bishop.
Can I do follow-up?
Yes. We have only very few minutes left. A short follow-up, but I want others also to have a chance. So very brief, Reverend Brown. Very, very brief.
Yes, the issue of homosexuality. If we stay as United Methodists, will we accept the idea to be ordaining or homosexuals, lesbian? Is that what I'm hearing?
What I said is we are committed to. What I said is that we are committed to the Bible.
Yeah.
We are committed to the book of discipline.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay, we have two more people. Please go ahead. State your name and.
My name is Nhanala Florence, Uganda, South Sudan, CBO.
Yeah, you can sit. It's easier to sit, I think, than you can speak better.
So my question is I just need to explain to me the difference between the United Methodist Church and the Global Methodist Church. Thank you.
Okay. The difference between the United Methodist and Global Methodist Church. One more question, please. Put the red light on, speak into the mic, and say your name.
Thank you so much. Reverend Mainsa Diamond, the DC Superintendent of Lusaka in the Zambia Conference, and I'm the CBO there in the Zambia Conference. And first of all, I would like to appreciate the position that our bishops took, and I'm glad for that. So I've got about 2 questions. One question is about after hearing the position of our bishops, then we started reading and hearing again other bishops saying, I was not in that meeting. I'm surprised that my name is appearing on that list. I didn't attend that council of bishops, but I don't know why am I there. We started reading such kind of information. What is the position of the bishops for those bishops who are not present in that meeting? And the second one is about, as you have said, our bishop, the AI, the purpose of this group was to train the delegates who will be going to the General Conference and also to be holding prayers to pray for the General Conference. Now that the bishops have refused to work in collaboration with these people, and the General Conference is coming in 2024, what is it that you have put in place as bishops to continue with the same idea of training our delegates who will be going to the General Conference, and also of praying for the General Conference, because some of the delegates who will be attending the 2024 General Conference, if at all it will be there, these are new delegates. People have never been to the General Conference. Have you organized anything to train these people so that they know what is going to happen at the General Conference? Thank you, my Bishop.
Thank you. I think we can take one last question and then a last round of answers from the Bishop. Is there any last question? Okay, then Bishop, go ahead.
Thank you. It will not be at this stage ethical to talk about GMC as a new denomination and for me to tell you the difference between the two. What I know is that the United Methodist Church continues to be United Methodist Church here in Africa. And as bishops, till now, we are saying, come what it may, we continue United Methodists here in Africa. In relation to the bishops that said they were not there, I was not there. I would like to let you know this. But this discussion did not start in Nhanala on the 8th of September. It is coming from other meetings that we had, the College of Bishops meetings that we had, where each bishop shares what is going on in his or her episcopal area. There is one name that was not there. And this name was honest, was clear in our meetings that they are not, is not for what we are dealing with. And that name was not included. Now the other ones come from the previous discussions, even for some of us that were not there. Already my colleagues knew my mind, knew because I always shared what is going on in my episcopal area. This is something that I missed to say, is that every time, every year, when the College of Bishops meet, each bishop gives an overview of things that are happening in our episcopal areas. And so this statement is not just of things that happened on that day. They come even from the previous meetings where the bishops shared, and we thought we are together on this. In relation to what is in place, let me say, before Africa Initiative, we would meet with our delegates before going to the General Conference. And we will continue doing that. We will continue helping our delegates to understand some of the things that are going to happen. If it is necessary to ask someone, as we have been doing, to come and talk to our delegates, we are going to do that. So if you are asking if we have an organization that is replacing Africa Initiative, the reply is no.
Bishop, may I just add that the college, the Central Conference bishops, all Central Conference bishops, Europe, Philippines, and Africa, and the General Secretary's table of all the agencies had a proposal which was already approved 3 days prior to the 2020 General Conference to have a meeting of all the delegates from the Central Conference to prepare and train for the General Conference. So this is already in place. It has already a budget which was approved, and this will probably happen in 24 as well. But just for information, it did not stop the Africa Initiative to then change their meeting prior to the General Conference to a few days before this official prior meeting, so they could still meet with the delegates, which confirms the impression the bishops have that this meeting is not necessary for the training, because this was already being taken care of by the College of Central Conference Bishops and the General Secretary's table. This just as for information, because I was involved.
Exactly. What I was trying to answer, I understood your question like to say, now that you have taken, because there is a special thing about the Africa Initiative that will also rally behind it. These are brothers and sisters from Africa that were going to train other Africa before the decision is talking about. And so we were all happy. In fact, most of our episcopal areas had people joining the leadership of Africa Initiative. It's only when they changed things that we said, wait a minute. And we don't have a replacement for Africa Initiative. What it's talking about is not replacing Africa Initiative. No. It is something that the General Church has decided. In other words, if Africa Initiative was still doing well, was still committed to what they did, because it's not only the two things, there are other things, good things also. Though the General Church had decided to train the delegates, we could continue rallying behind Africa Initiative.
Bishop, thank you so much. I think that was very enlightening, very clear, very much from your heart, and we know in what a difficult situation you are. So I think we all commit to pray for you, to pray for the bishops in Africa in a very, very difficult time. And I want to end with a word of prayer for Bishop Nhanala, and I would ask you to stand and to commit to pray with me for Bishop Nhanala and for our bishops in Africa. God of life, we give you thanks for our church in Africa, for the vibrant church that is making disciples of Christ for the transformation of the world on this continent. We give you thanks for the leadership of our bishops from east to west to the south in so many countries in Africa. We give you thanks for Bishop Nhanala, who has been our first female bishop, who has led the church in Mozambique and South Africa and this part of the continent. These bishops are going through a very difficult time. Personal attacks, rumors, it is not easy to live in this environment. And still they lead, still they have the courage to tell the truth, still they have the courage to share your word. Give them the strength, give them the wisdom, and especially we pray at this moment for Bishop Nhanala. Give health also to her husband, strengthen her family, and we pray for the United Methodist Church in Mozambique. And we commit that we will continue to respect our leaders, to ask the questions that need to be asked, but to love each other as we have heard in the sermons this morning. Help us to love each other. Bless us as we go into this meeting and the bishops continue to lead. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. And thank you for the questions also. They help us to reflect even more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and we have a small gift for you so you don't forget Wespath and the Central Conference Pension Initiative Forum. Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you.
It has a solar light. With the power cuts, I think that's probably a very adequate gift these days in Africa. Okay, thank you very much. The bishop will have to move on. We have half an hour break now, and we will meet again at 11:15. 11:15, we are back here for our first